I am a representative of the human Michael Chans, and we couldn't help but notice that over the last 2 weeks, the Hellbound Podcast has allowed the vampire Michael Chans and the werewolf Michael Chans to come on here and argue with each other about who's shredded and who's not shredded, who goes to the gym and who doesn't go to the gym, who's skinny and who's fat. Hey, listen. Those of us human Michael Chans have abs because we want to have abs. We don't need to go to the gym. We want to go to the gym. But really, what is wrong? What exactly is wrong with being round? You see, I, for one, am one of the more voluptuous Michael Chans. And let me tell you, the boys and girls love what I have to offer. You see, my curves are hot and everyone knows they don't stop when it comes to love. I'm on top, and that is what you call a mic drop. That's right, I'm better in bed than you are. Listen, at the end of the day, when it comes to defeating the prime Michael Chan, it doesn't matter how sparkly we are or how strong we are. See, where we human Michael Chans lack in superpowers, we make up for with brain power. We are going to defeat the prime Michael Chan because we are smarter than him. And besides, we're not wasting our time having some kind of monster grudge like you bitches. So mark my words, prime Michael Chan. Mark our words. We're coming for you. And there's nothing you can do about it. Hey everyone, welcome to the Hellbound, because I don't have my special microphone, podcast. I am Michael Chan from Star Trek Discovery, and I am here with the lovely... Who are you?
I'm Alex Blackburn. I'm a filmmaker and producer, and I had a bit of a horror-related production day, but I'll probably not talk about that too much because I'll end up going on a massive rant, which is usually the case with me. And
is it a horror story? Is it?
When it comes to almost everyone that was crossed my work life today was inept in terms of. Let's call the person Sam. This Sam was supposed to produce this huge project and has fallen short every opportunity. So anyway, I'm there to direct a project that has no foundation or anything yet. So I'm gonna have to take it into my own hands over the next few days. So
all right.
Yeah. Anyway,
let's move away from the horrors of work to the horror that we normally talk about. I would like to recommend a movie.
Oh, fantastic. What is that movie?
So first of all, I just want to say Jess and I started Pacific Heights, but we haven't finished, so I won't be able to talk about that today. Ooh. But a movie I do want to talk about is the 1999 movie from Japan called Audition. Have you heard of it?
Have I heard of it? I love it's Takeshi Miike. Is Mikey?
Miike, directed by Takashi Miike. For those of you who don't know, he's the guy who did Ichi the Killer. He, for something non-horror, he actually directed the 2012 Ace Attorney. That's the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney video game to movie, I guess, adaptation movie. He even did like a movie that ended up on Masters of Horror called Imprint. That's back in 2006. It was on, I think it was at Stars TV. It was on TV. But this guy has like over 100 directing credits to his name. He's one of Japan's most legendary horror directors and directors in general. So, but Audition, 1999. So it's not a new movie, but I didn't watch this film until recently. I've had it recommended to me many, many times, especially when I became an actor. And this movie, I'm so glad I finally watched it. It is disturbing. So basically the premise is a movie producer, his wife dies, and then many years later, his colleague is like, you need to find a wife, a new one. So it's about time. Why don't we just make a film and hold auditions for the female lead, and from those women, we'll find you a new wife.
Yeah.
And it goes from there, because very, very obviously he falls for one of them.
It is
And
this film
horror
is so
things ensue.
disturbing. It's
Horror
so,
things.
it's not just horror though, is it? It's something far beyond that. It's it's terror, not just for the people involved, because you don't want to spoil it, but
No, I don't want to spoil
if
it.
I ever see anyone with piano wire or cheese wire, is it cheese wire or piano wire, isn't it?
It's just, I don't know if it's piano.
A garrote. It's a garrote, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And yeah, this director,
Excuse
I
me.
would say the late 90s, early 2000s, when I worked at the first cinema I worked at part time, I was introduced to this and introduced to John Woo and Zhang Yimou, and I was just introduced to a lot of kind of Asian cinema and cinema from Japan and China and Korea. And this is a series that this director is like imprinted on me in a huge way, and especially Itchy the Killer as well.
Oh my god. My best friend Katisha Shah, she loves Ichi the Killer.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I think that's a fantastic movie. But the cool thing is, like, Miike's style is, like, I don't want to say it's chaotic. It's a little bit on the surreal side. And sometimes he just has these cuts that just makes your head kind of, you need to think about what's happening while it's happening to interpret what's going on.
Yeah.
But once you figure it out, it's disturbing.
And it was the first when I first saw that. What was the release date of that film? It was 99. So yeah, I saw it about 2 years after it came out, and it was around the time there was a couple of like famous fake snuff films going out, and it was like a disturbing point in my life in cinema. But yeah, Audition it's kind of very graceful in many ways, but really, really sinister as well. But
Well, once it turns, excuse me, he's good. Like, it's almost sweet at the beginning,
yeah,
and it's not like you don't see what's coming. And he throws hints, but like when it turns, oh man, does it turn?
yeah,
Like this, he knows how to do horror, and it's not just like it's not like jump scares or anything. Like, this is just like it messes with your mind.
yeah, exactly.
Like, even Ichi the Killer, that's not really horror. That's more like a gangster slash gore punk whatever movie, and but it has elements of it that really just, it disturbs you. It makes you uncomfortable. That, I think, maybe that's how I would describe his style of filmmaking. He always finds ways to shots, angles, colors, tones, just even actions, and the way the characters like the what happens to the characters, it's just, it unsettles you, and you can never feel comfortable when watching one of his films. Now, I never watched Ace Attorney. Phoenix Wright isn't a horror. It's just a dude who solves cases as a lawyer, right?
Yeah,
I'm curious because I know, like, the video game's a little bit, a little bit chaotic, and so I'm actually curious to finally go and watch that to see how Miike directed that. A video game that's not horror and is not in his usual wheelhouse of characters. How he directed a movie based on that.
yeah, because that'd be quite an interesting, because it's not directing in the same way. How we go about that with the animators and everyone else involved.
I mean, it's live action though.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
It's live action. Yeah. So what I'm curious is, like, do they use his unsettling style to make the cases that Phoenix is dealing with feel, you know what I'm saying? Like, because it's a courtroom thing. Like, is that why they got him? Because it makes you feel uncomfortable and makes it, maybe the tension and the the urgency of Phoenix solving everything. Maybe it's why they chose him. They need that. They need that there, and then maybe, and then you have a good resolution. I don't know. I'll watch it. And maybe I'll talk about it in the future, even though it's not horror, but it's still Miike. So
Yeah.
but yeah, Audition, guys. It's not a new movie, but if you haven't seen it, go check it out. And you know what? Just while you're at it, just add Ichi the Killer to your list.
Yeah. He's a unique. It's a unique. He's a unique filmmaker in the way he makes you feel after you've seen the film, during the film. I don't think I've seen another person's work where I feel that way. And it's really unique to be able to say that about any filmmaker.
Yeah, I've never felt this way with any other director.
Yeah.
Like, his stuff is just...
How did you feel after watching that? Did you have to watch comedy after that?
I mean, there's a meme going around that says you have to be a psycho if you can watch one of these things and go to bed. I went to bed.
Yeah, well, that's another one of your doppelgangers.
Unless I'm a doppelganger.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you know I'm prime Michael Chan right now?
I don't.
How do you know? Because this Michael Chan sitting right in front of you is talking about a really disturbing movie and saying that he's perfectly okay with it.
Yeah. At some point, I can see you taking your own, like having a mask of your own face and then taking that off on the show. That's how I picture the doppelgangers revealing themselves.
Mission Impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like, what was it? Bryan Cranston at one of these film conventions when he was promoting. Was it Better Call Saul, or it was? No, it wasn't Better Call Saul. It was when he was the bad guy in the new Total Recall, I think it was, which was horrendous. And he came on as Walter White, but it was a Walter White mask that looked exactly like him. And then he took it off, and it was the real reflection of what the model face was. So
why don't I pull off mask after mask after mask, and I still look the same each time?
Yeah, that would be a little bit scary. I've got something. I've finally finished watching a horror series on Netflix.
Yeah.
So I finished watching All of Us Are Dead. You're absolutely right. Vicky said something last night that you said straight away as part of the show, that it's, I'd say, 2 or 3 episodes too long.
That's right.
And there's 1 or 2 really unnecessary deaths in that show. Do I put a spoiler in? Yeah, maybe. Okay, I'm going to say yeah. One of the father figures at the end of the show, like in the tennis courts, I was just really kind of pissed off the way that was handled and mismanaged, and really disappointed, because it would have been a really different kind of dynamic. Or if they go into a second season, freshen it up with an adult kind of base character amongst the kids. And yeah, I was kind of disappointed in some ways, and it just went on for far too long.
Yeah, the outside of that, like, I don't remember if I said this, but basically they start threads that they just cut.
Yeah.
Really abruptly. And I think they think that doing that will elicit certain emotions in their audience that they're looking for, but it's not. Yeah. I found it to be excessive and annoying. Not that you shouldn't watch it. Like, it's a good series. It's a fantastic series. And like every series, there's always going to be flaws, and this is one of them. And I found that a lot of the Japanese and South Korean horror series that my wife and I have been watching tend to do this. They give you a load of characters. Some of them are obviously fodder, right? They're gonna die.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't like that. I don't like fodder. I like, if you're gonna have a character there, give us enough for us to actually either root for them or spend the entire time wanting them to die.
Yeah.
And then do something about it. Because if these characters are not fleshed out enough, at one point, like my wife and I actually got confused between who's one character and another. Yeah. Which is terrible. That sounds terrible because they don't look alike, but they look alike just enough for us to forget who's who.
Yeah, I was getting the jock-based boyfriend kind of lead, and the young lad, one of the other classmates that was being targeted by the others, the zombie.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
I was getting those two confused a little bit, but apart from
Yeah.
that, it was relatively clear. And I was really happy
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
at the
It
end of the
was.
show that they shed their classroom uniforms, because I was like, right, let's just put them in other costumes now. I need this freshening up, and it was,
Yeah.
yeah, I was really
But you
kind of
get what I
gutted.
mean, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
when you don't
absolutely.
flesh out characters enough,
Yeah,
some of them end up feeling the same, and then you kind of forget. And because the focus is obviously on the main character, sometimes you forget if they don't really come back to the other ones who are fodder. When they don't come back, like they don't talk about them or do much with them for a while, you
yeah,
kind of start forgetting, and then one of them dies, and you're like, wait, which one was that? Oh, right, okay, that's that one with this issue that they mentioned 3 episodes ago.
yeah. Or like when they're going across is it the sports hall, and they have the
Yeah.
cages, and they have the argument about should we make it tall,
Oh my
or they
god,
might
I'm
climb
not.
over, or should we make it a
That
box?
whole thing was stupid.
Yeah, and plus it's it just felt really dumb. The idea was dumb anyway.
Yeah,
It
it
was so
was.
obvious who was going to die out of that group. It was so clear,
Yep.
so clear. And the most
Anyways,
frustrating one that some of the people
yeah,
survived for too long, like
I agree.
the girl who infected the young lad in the sound room, the sound recording booth,
Or her,
and
yeah.
she was in that room with all the food and everything. And I like the idea she could have been, redeemed by sharing some of that if she'd have walked into the music room instead of staying in the storage closet. But and then she just lingered for far too long, and then they just killed her off.
But again, these are just the criticisms. The positives of the show far outweigh the negatives,
Yeah,
and it is definitely a recommended series to check out.
and I think I said this last time. Hats off to the actors, stunt coordinators, the performers, because what they did with their bodies to have this convincing style of zombie was second to none. It was absolutely breathtaking. Scream 6 is going to be next year.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I
it just
have
got
been
confirmed yesterday.
okay.
Paramount have greenlit a new sequel,
I
and
am excited.
this will be the
I
shortest
am.
gap between Scream films ever.
I don't want to spoil the Scream 5, so let's just. I'm really excited. I'm hoping they continue with the new characters, but how many
Yeah.
more people are gonna? This town, man. Everyone should just leave. Just
Also,
leave, guys.
now would property prices be low or high in that town?
Honestly, I think it should be low, but who knows?
Yeah, get some crazies that are like obsessed
That
about.
want to live in a town where
Yeah,
Ghostface exists,
yeah.
or could continually come back because it seems kids just go crazy in this town,
Yeah.
which is ridiculous. But I still love the series. Absolutely love it. And
I've got a recommendation.
ooh, yes.
You may have already seen this, I'm not sure. But it's a Netflix original with Sarah Paulson. And it's called Run. And it's about a mother who takes care, or in inverted commas, takes care of her daughter who's bedbound and can only use a wheelchair. And she's
I
not
have
allowed to
not
leave the
seen it.
house. But I'd highly recommend a film called Run. Sarah Paulson, a fantastic turn in the film. It reminded me of Misery in many ways. But yeah, very, very dark and sinister film. And I don't want to say too much about it, but it's about a mother who's looking after her daughter. And that's all I really want to say about that. But yeah, I highly recommend Run with Sarah Paulson and Kira Allen. And there's a fact on Netflix's website. It says Sarah Paulson co-stars with Kira Allen, who's the first wheelchair user to lead a major thriller since 1948. Wow, I didn't know
Wow.
that. That's amazing. I didn't know. Okay, that's brilliant.
All right,
That's how
good.
it should be. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I am so wrapped up in new baby world that I'm not on top of what's coming. So I'm finding out my news through you. each week while we're recording, which is fun.
I'd like to mention a non-horror film that I watched at the weekend, or myself and my wife watched, and it was called Turning Red on Netflix.
Yeah, you finally watched it. Disney Plus, yeah.
I connected with that more than any other Disney film in years, and it gave me real insight into a culture I didn't know a huge amount about, and a belief system, and the animation, and I think it's one of the best originals by Disney Plus for a while, and I actually preferred it to Encanto. Is it Encanto? Mm-hmm. So I actually like this a lot more.
So the film being about a Chinese girl living in Toronto, Canada, was not a problem. You could connect with that. You can relate
easily. Yeah, I know, because you post a few interesting things on Facebook about it.
Yeah, certain reviewers saying, I can't connect.
How can you not?
It's about a girl.
I was watching this with my wife, and it was like, yeah. She was like, yeah. And it was
set in Toronto. Oh, I'm like, yeah, okay. So when a movie is set in Colombia, can you connect with that? Because you're not from Colombia. What about New York? So many things are set in New York. Can you relate to that? Yeah, thanks a lot, reviewers. This movie is fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Did you notice the Tim Hortons in it as well?
Yeah.
The little Timbits on the table.
Yeah. Dude, that movie represented Toronto so well. Just so well. I'm just so proud of this film, the team behind it. It's an amazing achievement. And I highly recommend everyone watch it. And you know what? I'm going to argue that final scene with the multiple red pandas, could be classified partially as horror. Partially, a little bit.
Especially when you see almost the marshmallows stay puffed in the distance of the huge.
So it's just
it was the eye of pure evil in the distance.
There you go. Buildings. It is horror. Ha ha! One moment of horror.
Yeah.
Fit it right into our show.
And I'd like to end this episode on talking about a little thing called the Hellbound Horror Festival. So that's going to kick off in a few months' time, and this is not really going to affect anyone directly. But I'm going to all that content is going to be recorded. Anything I do with it going forward is going to be recorded in my new shed once it's finished. So it's going to be like
is it a murder shed? Murder shed?
Yeah, it can do. Yeah, I've got high ceilings, so we can hang things from it.
Nice.
So yeah, it's going to be all lit and become another space to work in. But yeah, I've spent some time working on that.
Assuming I don't get booked on something or have something in the way, on Saturday, April 9th, at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, there will be a new episode, and it will be live, of Star Trek Radio Theater. We shall be doing Star Trek The Next Generation. The episode name is Darmok, which is Season 5, Episode 2. And I shall be playing Lieutenant Worf. And it's going to be horror, because I'm going to be horrible. I'm going to butcher this character so bad that it might as well be a horror episode. So enjoy my horrible performance as Lieutenant Worf. I would also like to now do some promo and do my job. As I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, I am from Star Trek Discovery. So I'm actually in Season 4 of Star Trek Discovery, which you can now stream on Paramount Plus. I'm in 2 episodes. I won't tell you which ones they are. I'm sure you can look it up on IMDb, but I want you to be surprised. So look for me in 2 episodes of Season 4, which is an amazing season of Star Trek Discovery. Oh, right. And now to promo ourselves, please check out our Instagram. It is at the Hellbound Podcast. If you have any cosplays, makeup, or any other media you would like us to feature on our social media, send us a private message on our Instagram. Once again, that is at the Hellbound Podcast. And If you like what you're hearing, please consider subscribing or following us on your podcast app or platform. And if there is the option to give us a review, please give us a positive review. 5 out of 5 stars, 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, 7 out of 11. Wait, where did I get that from? Never mind. 10 out of 10. It helps us get on featured on the front page of these apps, which then helps us get more listeners, which then allows us to do more with this platform. So again, we are the Hellbound Podcast. Harness to darkness.